My name is Joanita Natu. I'm 39 years old, and I live in Norway, in the northern part of Norway. And I am a child and adolescent psychiatrist, so I work with under 18s mental health. I knew I had a health problem when I went to my GP, and I needed to take some blood tests. So he took a bunch of blood tests, and what he told me was that he called me later that night and told me that I had a very low iron level. So he told me to actually go to the hospital the next day because my iron level was really low, and he was worried that it could be something really serious. So the next morning I went to the hospital, the main hospital, which is 2 hours away from where I live by car. And they did a bunch of tests. And yeah, the whole day I was at the hospital. They did blood tests again. Again, they saw that my iron levels were really low. Hemoglobin was really low. My iron stores were really low. And I was in the hospital for about 24 hours before they did some imaging. They did a CT of the abdomen, CT of the lower abdomen. And that's when they saw that I had numerous fibroids. So that's when it all started. This was December of 2019. And the doctor basically told me I have to stay in the hospital, and they have to do a surgery on me to remove my uterus because the fibroids were very big. So just to backtrack, before actually I found out about the fibroids, my cycles are very heavy. Usually, actually, my cycles are between 5 to 7 days, but very heavy. When I'm talking very heavy, I mean clots, and I use the thickest sanitary pads. So it was really taking a toll on me. I used to really feel tired. I was always tired, always feeling so tired. So yeah, that's basically the background of why I went to the doctor actually to get some blood tests done, because I was feeling so tired and exhausted all the time. So my whole cycle, actually, since I started having my period when I was a teenager, it's always been heavy. It's always been heavy. And earlier on when I was younger, it was painful, but not in the recent years. It became less and less painful, but earlier on it was really painful. And but when I had my heavy days, I would have to change maybe 3 times in an hour, and using the thick pads. So 3 times in an hour. Sometimes, in the night, I definitely have to change at least 4 times in an hour to make sure that I don't leak on the bed sheets. I knew I had to go to the doctor when I was really exhausted. I definitely felt I couldn't go on any longer if I'm so tired like this. So I couldn't actually go to work sometimes, and I would stay at home. It was during the pandemic, and I would stay at home working, but still I would not get stuff done, my work done. Everything was just piling up. So I really knew that I had to go to the doctor and get my blood work done to figure out what was the real problem, what was the root cause of my tiredness, exhaustion. And one of the days when I had to go into work during the pandemic, I had woken up, gotten ready, and, I knew I was having a really heavy day on my period. So I took a painkiller just, so that everything would be perfect on this day, because I knew I had a presentation that I was giving to the junior doctors. So when I got to work, I was feeling really good about myself, ready for this presentation. And then as I was sitting down, and then I decided to stand up kind of to point something on the screen as I was presenting. And then I just felt a rush of I guess, blood just just literally draining out of me. And I got really surprised and kind of taken aback. And I thought, okay, what was that? I excused myself and went to the bathroom, only to see that, I had a big clot of blood that had gushed out of me, and almost actually was going to stain me if I had sat down again and the pad was really full. and the clot was just like, sitting on this pad, and like, it was. And then I realized, oh, this is actually really serious. So that day is when I realized that this is not normal. This is way out of what I've been experiencing so far. And even on the day that I had taken a painkiller, that's the day that it went up for me that I need to get help. I need to figure out what this is. It was affecting my quality of life because I could not be, during my cycle, I could not be anywhere for more than 1 hour, 2 hours, because I knew I had to be changing my pads so frequently. And I had to basically figure out a place to be that, and that was home. So I had to be home most of the time when I was on my cycle. I couldn't be, sometimes I couldn't even go to work. Sometimes I couldn't go out to dinner with friends. I definitely could not go to like shows where you have to sit for 2.5 hours in a row and could not get up. So yeah, it was really taking a toll on me because, I mean, my period is what, 5 to 7 days out of the month. So those days I had to be homebound. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do a road trip on those days. This also affected me professionally because, sometimes I couldn't go to work on the days when I had my cycle. And I was exhausted at work most of the time. Even though I wasn't on my cycle, I was really exhausted. And just general performance at work was really going down. And usually I'm quite a competitive person. I really like to, do a good job and show that I can do this, But at some point I was just, my energy was wavering, and I was really becoming quite complacent and just, almost giving up. I felt like I couldn't talk about it with most of my girlfriends, for example, because they were not in the same situation, and they really wouldn't understand. So we really didn't talk about, women's health or anything like that. So that really affected my relations with my girlfriends and, my close friends, and just, being in a relationship with my boyfriend. On those days I was very unapproachable. On those days when I had my cycle and it was really heavy, I was really unapproachable, really in a bad mood, So it did affect my relationship as well. It affected me emotionally and spiritually because I kept asking God, like, why me? And I really felt like, I was really pushed in a corner alone and had no help. And I used to pray and say, God, if you could take this away from me, I really would serve you for the rest of my life. And I really prayed for many years. For many years, I really prayed that if you could really take this off my back. And I felt like it was not getting any better. It was almost getting worse. So it was really hard. It was really difficult. In my quest for help, I tried, the conventional medical help that is available, taking painkillers, taking, anti-inflammatories, and just trying to manage the bleeding and the symptoms, and, trying to actually be physically active, but not really doing it the right way. So I tried to look up online, what kind of resources what kind of things can one do with this kind of problem? And I felt like I was, not getting anywhere or not getting ahead of my problem. So the day when I went to the hospital, I got there early in the morning because the doctor had told me that, you have to be there early in the morning and they're going to do a lot of tests. So I got there early in the morning, they checked me in, and I was there for at least 4 hours without them doing anything, but just, discussing my case and what are we going to do. So they did the blood tests, came back to me and said, we have to do more blood tests. So they took more blood, did more blood tests, and then they put me on the ward where all the women who have just given birth, who have just had surgeries on their uteruses were. So they put me on that ward. So I was kind of, thinking, what is going on? But they hadn't still talked to me about anything at that point. And then the next day, the surgeon comes and tells me that, they've booked me in for a hysterectomy. And I'm like, nobody has discussed this with me. So I'm kindly saying no, thank you. And I would like to discuss other options. But it seemed like they did not want to give me any other options. He said that if I leave the hospital and don't have the hysterectomy, I would faint or I would be too weak to drive anywhere. So he really made it look like or seem like the hysterectomy was the only option I had and the only option that they had to give me. But as I said, I kindly turned him down and I said, no, I think I'll seek for a second opinion. And he actually did not even ask me if I had any kids or I wanted any kids or what kind of plan I had for the future. He didn't. He just wanted to, do the hysterectomy. And it was actually right before Christmas. So he said that, if I go and have Christmas with that I wouldn't be able to survive it. It's gonna, and then he was also really scaring me, saying it's gonna turn into cancer, that I should really think about it before I leave the hospital, before I go and seek a second opinion, that I really should say yes to this. Initially, when they gave me the results, they did not tell me the size of the fibroids. They just told me there were many fibroids and they're actually occupying my whole uterus. They did not tell me how many there were or what the size of the fibroids were. So I was left kind of to think that the problem was overwhelming for them as well. So that was the initial. And when I asked them if hysterectomy was the only treatment option they had for me, they said that, well, they could actually do a blood transfusion. I did not want a blood transfusion because according to the blood results, it was only my hemoglobin and my iron stores that were low, very low. So I asked if I could get an iron transfusion instead, and they said I could. So I got that. And as soon as I was done with the iron transfusion, I basically asked to sign a waiver form to leave the hospital. And take a second opinion, as I had thought. With all the threats and they were scaring me and everything, I felt like, where this is a hospital, where am I going to get help? Where is there help to find, And I knew very well that, signing this waiver form, basically saying no to their treatment, was kind of like my last straw. Like that was the last thing I could do. But within me, in my spirit, I felt that that was the best decision I could take at the time. I didn't really know why, but a very strong feeling in me just basically made me feel at peace with that decision. So I wanted to sign that waiver form and leave, even though the doctor scared me and said that, if you drive 2 hours, you're going to faint and you're going to, become dizzy, very dizzy. I was willing to take the chances. At that point, the only option they were offering me was a hysterectomy, and I was not willing to take that as the only treatment option. I learned about the Detox Now program because when I came home, I was desperate for options, for help. I went on the internet. I was listening to a lot of YouTube videos, watching a lot of, everything, Instagram, going on all the social media platforms just to try and find the solution or to try and find help. I was listening to YouTube and one of the videos, it was the Breakfast Club with Coach Jessie and Dr. Amun talking about fibroids and solutions for fibroids. And, that's where I got to hear about the Detox Now. And I was so relieved finding this program that does not need surgery, does not need, any aggressive interventions. So I took contact with the email that they had on the website, and that's how it all started. Within my desperation phase, I had been looking up a lot of things. So I had previously downloaded the food list, and I had started using that to change my lifestyle and my diet. And when I heard that, changing my diet was key to eliminating fibroids naturally on the breakfast carb, I was then convinced that, this is the way forward in my journey to eliminating fibroids naturally. When I started to change my diet, I definitely started feeling a difference. I had more energy. I was feeling, my brain was much clearer because previously I was feeling very tired, and I started to feel like I had more energy. My brain was clearing out a lot. And then I felt much lighter. My period was much lighter. I definitely did not have any cramps anymore. So, and then that even gave me the go ahead of like, okay, this is working. Then I thought that was definitely the way to go in terms of, on my journey. Working with Coach Jessie and Dr. Amun has worked for me in terms of that. It has been a 360 journey for me. It has been not just, changing my lifestyle in terms of food, but also incorporating physical activity and also the spiritual aspect of it. Getting to know the root cause of my fibroids, the root cause of why it all happened the way it happened, and finding a solution has been a relief for me. Finding this solution that does not really involve, invasive techniques, but, a gradual change in my lifestyle. And my life has improved in the sense that I do not have heavy bleedings. And that gives me a whole wide range of activities to do, spending more time with my friends, being out, just having a social life that is manageable as opposed to before. My life has also changed because I feel like I have more energy. I can do more activities, physical activities also included, without feeling really tired. But all round, I feel like I have gained a lot of knowledge in terms of, what to eat, what not to eat. The food that I love has changed. The spectrum of the food that I love has changed. And I feel like I'm empowered as a woman to actually go ahead in life and actually encourage other women as well to change their lifestyle in terms of diet, exercise, and the spiritual aspect of it. Sorry, I had to leave and go and bring a guest with me. I'll mention that later in the testimony. As I was on the journey, I realized that in December 2020, my fibroids had actually shrunk because my largest fibroid was about 18 centimeters, and it had at that time shrunk to 13 centimeters. And I wanted to accelerate my journey of, my plans of having kids and just generally better my health. And I decided to opt to do a myomectomy in January 2021. And already by the time I did the surgery, end of January 2021, again, my fibroids had shrunk. That big one had shrunk from 13 centimeters to 8 centimeters. So I knew I was on the right track with changing my lifestyle in terms of the food list and also taking the supplements, which I had been doing since I started my journey in 2020. So January of 2021, the myomectomy, they removed 11 fibroids. And at the time, they said that the biggest one was 8 centimeters. So that also confirmed for me that I was on the right track. After the myomectomy, I still continued to take the supplements and to eat from the food list. And then in August 2021, I found out that I was pregnant with my little miracle, Cairo. Here he is joining us in the video. Cairo, say hi. I continued my detox now lifestyle during my pregnancy as well. And I had a very easy pregnancy, I would say. I did not have any nausea. I was not vomiting. I continued to eat from the food list. I had a lot of energy. So that was really encouraging to actually go through the pregnancy and eat from the food list and experience for myself that, I was very okay. And being on the program, the Detox Now lifestyle has really empowered me. And I feel like, I'm complete. And I'm still following the food list, eating from the food list. And yeah, I feel like I still have a lot of energy, actually, even though I'm alone with Cairo. I have a lot of energy eating from the food on the food list. I just want to encourage women out there that, the life that you have dreamed of is possible. Just listen to the small voice inside of you, because I always think if I had listened to the doctor who had told me to have the hysterectomy, I wouldn't have had Cairo right now. I'm glad that I did not listen to what the doctor was telling me, and telling me that the hysterectomy was the only treatment option, because they didn't give me any option of any other treatment plan that would guarantee me no pain, more energy. And yet on the detox now and balanced life, that's what I got. I got more energy, no pain, and yeah, and I did not have my uterus removed. So I would like to encourage all women to advocate for themselves when it comes to women's health. I actually just really want to thank God for giving me that intuition to actually tune in on, just saying no to what the doctor was telling me and just doing my own research. That's what I want, because I could have easily given up as well, and much as I had said no to the surgery, I could have just given up and been home and done nothing about it. Throughout my journey, I have experienced that the coaching that I have received from the Detox Now group has been essential for me to keep and maintain my lifestyle, and to always get encouragement from the other women in the group, and especially from our coach, Jennifer, who has been the glue to our journey in all of this. I really, really want to appreciate Coach Jennifer, and I really, really thank her for being there for us. And I'm very grateful for having her in my journey. So trust me when I say balance is possible to all the women out there that are looking for options, treatment options. Here is the proof, my miracle Cairo.